Good morning, friends. Welcome to Friday here at the Comfy Nest with Grace. And today we're going to be doing some art journaling. I've got some rub-on transfers, these beautiful florals. I've got some watercolor paints. I've got my journal, which this is a very small art journal, actually. In the scheme of things, it's very small. But I've got my art journal. I've got some archival stamp, ink, and a stamp set with some sentiments. So we're just going to get creative. I have been really trying hard to encourage you guys to create. Hey, good morning, Kimberly. To create on the fly and to create even when you feel like you don't have a lot of time. So I'm going to try to put this together in a way to show you that you can be creative. I'm showing you a lot of this, whether it's junk journaling, making tags, artist trading cards, or doing bulk work like paper collage for just having it on hand, or preparing tags with backgrounds to have on hand, just so you have 15 to 20 minutes, whatever you can spare, half hour of time to create, just to kind of feed your soul with that creative juice that you want to have on a daily basis. Hey, Mary. Good morning, Mary Ludovic. Hello, Diana. And there's Jen. Good morning, Jen. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for saying hello, you guys. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you saying hello. Hey, Lisa. How are you? I am going to make this screen big so you can see the table. Hey, Janet Feeland. Happy weekend to you. I'm going to spread this stuff out. We will use this probably last, so we can put the stamps aside and watercolors. Okay, so the reason I pulled out the watercolors is when I was looking for a book to use today, I was feeling like working on a small scale, so I grabbed the small book. Someone's going to ask me how big this is. It is 5 3/4. 5 3/4. I think it is actually listed on Amazon as a 6x6 book by Arteza. It has watercolor paper in it. So I use this, in fact, in 2021, when I originally discovered Inktense pencils, I even wrote in here, my first playtime with Inktense pencils. I was just playing to see, they're water reactive pencils, and I was playing with them to see how they worked. So that was that. Then on these pages, subsequent pages, I was still playing with those Inktense pencils to get to know them, so I would know how they work, how much wetness to use with them because they're water reactive. Can you use them dry? What kind of markings do they make? So you see a lot of scribbles in here and just water play with pencils, Inktense pencils. Okay, that's what this book is. However, then I started getting into, oh my God, they're really fun to flip through these books. This is why I love working in a journal, because you get to go through the past. I started this in 2021, and I have a couple of small journals, I have a couple of medium-sized journals, and I have a really big journal. And I just pick whichever one I feel like working in. But it is really fun to kind of go back a history of time. Like this was August 2021 of what I've done in the book. It's just art exploration in a book. Whatever you feel like doing, whatever has inspired you today. You went for a walk and you saw a cute little house and a bluebird. You come back. I don't know that that's what I did that day, but you come back and you put that in there. I mean, it is just literally for fun. This one, it says, God is within her. She will not fail. I love that page. I don't know why. It is so basic and so simple, but I love it. It just makes me happy. Anyway, this was my last entry in here in April, and I love it. So we are going to do watercolors. I was playing here with masking fluid. I had watched somebody. I'm like, what is this masking fluid stuff? So I wanted to see how it worked. So these 3 hearts were made with the masking fluid. That's what this page was about. It was a play to figure out the masking fluid. And then I was like, all right, what else can I put on here? And I smushed those on there. So let's get a new page. We're going to create on the new page. Hello, Jean. I haven't seen you in a while. Hello, friend. This will be one of the last things that we do too. So I'm going to move this aside so that your screen view is a lot cleaner. I grabbed my little button, my little watercolor dots. And because my focal point has this reddish color in it, and there is some yellow in these florals. What I thought I would do is use yellows and greens. So the dots come with this index of colors. All of these colors are represented on the dots. So I wanted the yellows. So I found the 2 cards that have the yellows. And then I wanted these 2 greens, Cascade Green. No, excuse me, Sap Green and Green Gold. So I had to read because I haven't even used these yet. It does tell you green gold, sap green. So I wanted those colors specifically. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I have any more water in my spritzer. Oh my gosh, it's almost empty. I'm going to spray these just to activate them. And I'm probably going to need, this is the little cup that I use to clean my brushes. So I'm going to probably need that to wet the paints. So what I'm going to do is, like this background, just smatter and play with the color in the background, yellows and greens, and then we're going to put the stamping and the transfer on top. Simple, right? Really simple. I'm trying to get a drink here. Sorry for the lull in conversation. Let me know when you're here. If you're just jumping on, there are 8 of you here. Thank you to everybody who said hello. I appreciate you so much. If you're catching the replay, let me know that too. Okay, we're just smattering color. I grabbed 3 different size brushes. I've been using this one only out of this set, and it's really big. So I'm going to try this one today. It's a little smaller. It's like a medium size. I'm going to wet it first because, of course, it's watercolor. Let's start with the lighter of the colors. So that's the yellow. And like I said, we're smattering. In fact, I might just add a little water to the page. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to have to dry this completely before I do any stamping on it and before I do the transfer. That is, wow, that is bright. Look at the difference. You know, the less water you use, the more vibrant the colors. I really like there to be some of that color really soft and watery and some of it really bold on a page, just like you saw on this page. Yeah, I'm like covering the whole thing with this color. I got to stop with one color, right, and move on to another. Because I pulled a few different colors. Let's see what this yellow does. I just used this one. Now I'm going to try this one. Oh my gosh, art journaling, you guys. Are you art journaling? Do you art journal regularly? Okay, it is much brighter and more primary. And it looks a little more neon to me, so actually I don't really love this color here for this. So I'm going to use up what's on my brush because I don't want to waste it. And then I'm going to let this one go. It's just a little bit too much for my brain to take right now. So we're going to put this one aside. Do not, if you ever get these little button, they're so handy to play with and try different brands or different watercolors. When you wet them with your brush or with your sprayer, do not put them on top of each other and put them away until these little buttons are dry, because they will stick to each other and the paper will peel off into your paint, which you do not want. You do not want. I've just got a kind of a napkin here. I'm just going to put that in the back because I can see some water pooling here. So this is finding my words, trouble finding my words. This is a journal that has watercolor paper in it. And that just means it's thicker paper. It can handle all the water. Okay. So if you're going to get an art journal and you want to play with watercolors, or if you want to have the option to play with watercolors, make sure that the journal that you get has as thick a paper as possible. Okay. Okay. That I did not intend. My intention was not to completely cover that with yellow, but there we go. That's what we got. That's what we got. What are you guys up to this weekend? Please tell me. And are you doing anything creative? Do you have time for anything creative in your life this weekend? I would love to know. I'm going to dry this, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to try to use my other hand. I'm going to get on YouTube and see what you're seeing to make sure that what you're seeing is workable for you. You can see it well, you can hear it well. I'm not going to be able to test the audio, but You guys usually tell me right away if the audio is off in some way. I want to make sure that this is completely dry so I can add some of the green without the two blending together. So that's why we use the dryer. All right, I'm going to the live button. There we are. There it is. Yay! It's working. All right. Yeah, I can see everything's working. That's good. That's really good. Okay. Let's test it and see. Oh, it's pretty darn dry. There's this one little spot right here, but I'll just avoid that. Okay, so see, it's all, you saw me do it. It was really quick. Some of it is really faint and some of it's really dark. And that is the fun of playing with watercolors, in my opinion. Okay, I'm actually going to go to a smaller brush and let's just see what we get. If we use the smaller brush, I wanted to use the green gold and the sap green. So let's just start in and see what we get. And maybe what I'll do, I'm going to be I'm thinking about using this one from the set of transfers. This one's really pretty too and big enough to fit on the page. So I do kind of like to pull this because that's what's going on top. So I want to see how dark this green is. I'm going to go off to the side. Oh, it's not that dark. We can work with that, right? We can add a little green without overpowering the whole thing. I'm going to add a little more water to my brush. No more color, just a little more water so I can spread that out a little more. It's like a green yellow, so it really works well with the yellows. Maybe this will be the only color that I need. I'm feeling like this brush is a little bit small because it's not holding a lot of water. So it doesn't give me a lot of, now it's dry. I have to re-wet it. I have to keep re-wetting it. So let me grab the medium brush again because this just naturally, there's more bristles. It's going to hold more water. So when I go to spread that green, it's going to be lighter and more movable. I don't know what the correct terms are. I'm not a trained artist. I'm just a girl who likes to play. I hope that's okay with all of you. All right, I put a little too much here, so I'm just going to take my cloth while it's still wet and wipe away a little bit. But see where the white parts are? That's kind of where I'm trying to go with a bit of this color. I can hear my kids are in the kitchen. And I think they both have their girlfriends here. So we got 4 teenagers hanging out in the kitchen, having a good old chat. All right, one more space back here, but I haven't even tried the other green yet. Sap green. Let's just see what this sap green looks like. Once you use these buttons, they are on watercolor paper. I call them buttons. He calls them dots. But once you use it, it kind of reveals the color around it, which is really nice because then you get a better sense of what that color is. That is a beautiful color. It's really, really pretty. It's more muddied than the one that has the yellow in it. Or excuse me, I'll call it green gold. It's a little more muddied. So you can tell I'm using it around the edges and it's just going to give it, I love my borders. I love to have even the illusion of a border with some distressing with ink, or in this case, I'm using the watercolors. I better spread that a little more because it feels a little bit intense to me, a little bit too intense. I'm going to take some of that color and put it somewhere else. Looks very cloudy. I love that look of a watercolor that looks cloudy. I'm going to put kind of a darker spot over here. And we could make marks, like, do you see, just with I could make marks if I wanted to, just to give some visual interest in this corner. It's almost like a stamping, but I'm using my brush to create that shape, obviously. Let's do a little bit of that, just why not? Now I have to fit on here. I have a pretty long phrase stamp picked out and I have the floral and I want to fit both of them on there. So actually I may be able to get the floral behind this dark spot. I'm just, you guys, playtime. This is playtime. When you're in your art journals, it is total playtime. You get to just play. It's discovering how your brushes work, how they work with the paints that you have, and each paint is different, each brand of paint, the way the paint comes. You can get watercolors. Did you know you can get watercolors in a tube? And then there's gouache, which is a combination of watercolor and acrylic paints. They all act different. The watercolor pencils or Inktense pencils that are water reactive, they all act a little bit different. And so even if you don't have a focal point, I'll remind you here in a second by showing you. Even if you don't have a focal point, this almost looks like like trees of mountains. Or mountains of trees, I should say. Okay. I sometimes do stuff and I don't have a focal point. I'm just playing with my colors. Like a workbook. Playing with the colors with stencils on this page. Just making cubes. Just right here, what I wanted to explore here was the darker and lighter that I'm kind of playing with here. It just gives my hand with a brush in it to learn how much water to use, how much paint to use or pencil. I'm kind of liking these peaks and I don't know why, but I'm liking them. I'm going to water these down just a little bit so they're not so harsh. There. Okay, I'm going to pull just a couple more into this corner of those little peaks, making marks with that brush, and then we're going to dry it. And then we're on to the next step. Oh my gosh, that was an empty bottle of wipes that just fell on the floor. I'm so sorry, girls. You know me, and I'm not a big fan of yellow, but I thought because the florals have the yellow in it, it would be a nice addition. Hey, Marcia, good morning. Okay? Yep. No, I dropped a thing of wipes. Yeah, it's good. My son coming in to check on me. What a little sweetheart, huh? All right, man, that was quick and dry. This little corner needs a little attention. So what do you think of that so far? I'm done with the watercolors. I can get rid of this big tissue. Do you see how much of the watercolor it took on? And it gave me a place to like dab my brush when it had too much water. It can be a paper towel. It can be a clean rag, a towel, you know, a regular towel that you deem for your craft room. But that saved this piece of paper from taking up too much yellow. Okay, that's what that does, is it gives you a little buffer between. I'm not using any more water at this point. So I'm going to put these watercolors aside, and I need to make sure I separate them so that they don't stick to each other. And then look at how your page gets all kind of wacky and warped, but that, when the book closes, it will flatten it out. It will flatten it out and it'll be just fine. Okay, now we got to figure out placement for the next two things. I have this set of sentiments. I think I got it at a thrift store at some point. I think what I'm going to do is pick the floral first. I was going to use this stamp with a floral on it, but let's pick the floral first because then it will determine how big of a sentiment I can put on it. So I got to get these open. These are Essential Stencil. I've had these for a long time. They're kind of Essential Stencil from way back when. Hold on, girls. I need to do a little table maintenance because I have just too much stuff in front of me for this big 12 by 18 pack of transfers. These are rub-on transfers. If you haven't used them, they are super slick. They're really fun. You can put them on almost anything, even fabric. I mean, fabric that you're not going to wash because you can't heat set it or seal it into fabric. But if you just had something that was decorative, like a fabric canvas that you wanted to put this on, you totally could do that. I don't think I've used any of these. I always look first, did I? I think they come in 2 sheets. Yep. Oh, they're different sheets. The images on the 2 sheets are different, so I better pull this out. Lots to pick from here. Oh my gosh, this one's really beautiful. This one is really beautiful, but it's a little bit big. I was kind of wanting to use one of these with this, just the single flower with the stem. The way you can figure this out, I'm super, super visual. Okay, so I need help figuring this stuff out. I need to see it on the page and kind of see what room it takes up. So normally what I try to do is separate the backing from the top, but don't, when you do this, make sure you don't touch the back of your transfer to anything because it will stick to it. But I could theoretically pull this out. Let's cut one out of here. It'll make it easier for me to handle it. I'm wondering if this one will fit. So let's just do this. We're going to cut this out, not hitting any of the decorative parts. Okay, then I can put that aside. And now this helps me figure out, is this going to fit on the page the way I want it to? So what I can do now, just don't touch any of the image. So I have cut enough around the edges that I have little like handles. And now I can do this and I can see, oh my gosh, it's going to fit on there perfectly. It's a lot bigger than what I intended. So I need to leave room for my little sentiment. And I picked this set because it's a whole set of sentiments. But then I can see, yeah, I'll be able to fit one of these sentiments on here easily. So I'm going to put this on this page, and I'm going to put it here on the edge. Instead of on the bottom, I'm going to put it here up high. That'll show my peaks, and then I'll be able to put a stamped phrase right there, if that makes any sense. So then what I need to look for is some kind of tool. When you buy these transfers from Essential Stencil, you will get like it's a little orange. Where is mine? A little orange tool to press them on. And now I'm just looking for something that I can use. Oh, good gravy. That's what I get for moving things around. Just anything not super sharp. This like plastic that I can push with, give it some pressure. Anything like that works. But you will be sent a tool when you order those. And if you guys are ordering from Essential Stencil for stencils or transfers for their brushes or any of that, please use my code, The Comfy Nest. You'll get a nice discount, and it gives me a little boost in income. So I appreciate that. I'm going to go up high. As soon as you touch that down, it's basically stuck on there, but it's not stuck well enough. So we need to push it, transfer it from the backing carrier paper, the clear paper, onto my watercolor paper. I'm taking my sweater off because Gracie's burning up a sweat here. Okay, so we're just going to push. And I'm paying attention. You can do broad swipes, but usually you're going to end up wanting to touch every single little bit of this design hard enough so that you can see it transfer. I'm going to show you something. See right there? It's a little milky right there in this section. The flower absolutely did transfer there, but here it has not. So as I push on this, you'll start to see where it starts to get milky is where it has transferred. Oh, see? It's not all transferred. So we need to keep working at it and pushing on it until we got full transfer. Okay? So just be patient. When you pull back your transfer, do it very slowly. You don't want to do it super fast. Hey, I got this in our craft box relay, and it's great for this because it's going to give a more solid background in my book for getting my press on here. Like press on nails. So I can get more pressure with the edge than I can with this flat section. So with this edge, it's a dull but hard plastic. I can get more pushing leverage. Let's pull back and see what we're getting so far. See, I'm pulling back really slow, and I'm not pulling up to the sky. I'm pulling along the page this way, horizontally, not vertically. it's going to give you more control. And if you do it really slow, when you see anything reveal that it has not stuck down, you're going to put it back down and get to pushing. See right here, this flower, it's just not, I've paid it no attention. I got to get to this edge. We're taking a little trip today, girls. We're taking a little trip. Anybody got like weekend trips planned? We're doing an overnight. My husband's staying here, but the kids and I are doing an overnight. Hey, Marcia. I hope you heard me say hello earlier. It's when Landon came in. It's a little distraction, but I hope you heard me say hello. I lost part of this leaf, but it's okay. I think it's still stuck on there. This, oh, see, this little part right here didn't stick. Whoops. This little part right here. So we're going to put it back down. This is why it's nice to go really slow. Put it back down so I can focus on that part of the leaf and get it stuck on that page. Now I'm at the very, very end. And if I've missed any of this, I don't want it flinging up when this comes up. I've got like 99.9% of it off. When I come to the edge of this with just that little bit left, this plastic is going to pop right off. So I'm actually going to hold it on this end and I'm going to start peeling it back on this side. So if anything is left remaining on the back, the carrier sheet, I can put it back down and I haven't lost my place. I haven't misaligned it at all. Yep, I've got a little bit of the top of this leaf right here that I need to transfer. That's everything. Oh, I love it. I love the colors together. Okay, your carrier sheet, I'll call it. We can use the smooth, clean side and just really make sure that that all stuck on there. And then that can go in the garbage. We don't need that anymore. We don't need this anymore. Now I have this one lonely little leaf. I think I should find a home for it, right? I mean, like, what am I going to do with it otherwise? I think I'm just gonna add it right here, maybe. Why not? Let's do it. Because it's just sitting there by itself. I don't want it to get lost. And we have that space there where we could put it. Yep. All right. What do we think of that? You guys can handle this, right? Have any of you worked with transfers before? These transfer papers. Now, we can take this. And there are a lot of tall, skinny. Look at that one fits there perfectly. Memories are the most beautiful pictures our minds can paint, and nothing can ever erase them. We're making memories this weekend. We're taking a little family trip. The boys and I are with Miss Maddie. Maddie is Landon's girlfriend. They are 18 and 19, and Landon wanted to give Maddie, for her birthday, this trip this summer. And I said, yeah, that's a great gift to give her. I love the idea of it, but you're not going alone. I said, Mama will chaperone. So I am chaperoning Landon and Maddie. And of course, Gannon's coming with us because, oh, what else is he going to do? He's coming with us on this it's a trip to Medora. We're taking a trip to Medora. Okay, scratching that up to make sure that the ink really sticks, and we're going to stamp this on here. Now, I picked out a gray or a black, and with watercolor, my opinion, I just think the black is too harsh. And even on this one, I think I used gray. I used the gray. It's just a little softer. Even though the butterfly had some black, it's just a softer look. You use whatever color you want. I'm just saying the reasoning why I do the things that I do so that you guys have an understanding. These clear things are awesome because it really lets you control this flexible stamp, and we can see right through everything. Because we can see right through everything, it helps us with our placement. I have this tall, skinny one. I might as well use it. It'd be easier to handle than the wide one. Okay, I think I'm going to put it right here. Maybe instead of putting it on the lower right, which is kind of what I always do, I'm going to put it more toward the middle. But I got to get it inked up. Lovelies Crafting Lodge. Hello, hello. Thanks for saying hello to us. I appreciate you being here. Hey, Melissa Grove. What's happening, friend? If I've been missing comments, what is going on here? I think I've been missing comments. What is, come on, YouTube, get it together. Why is that? Why is that the case, girls? My computer isn't showing me the whole chat, I think. Melissa says she loves transfers. You do? Aren't they so easy and fun to work with? Okay, I want to make sure that I'm getting like all of it. Actually, what you could do, just have a little piece of paper off here. I just want to make sure, is that really full coverage? It is. It's perfect coverage. Okay. So I just want to make sure that the first time you used a stamp, I always scratch them up with this. It gives the stamp a little bite to hold on to the ink and then to transfer the ink. So that first time I want to really test it. I want to make sure underneath here I have a really solid, stiff surface, and that little Ranger thing is just perfect for it. So whoever sent that in the Craft Therapy Club's Craft Relay box, thank you. And now I'm going to rock it back and forth so slightly to make sure we got full coverage. Oh my goodness. Easy breezy, right? And then I dropped my wipes on the floor. I had 2 boxes of them, or 2 of these, and one of them was almost empty, and that one just landed on the floor. So I'm going to grab this one right away. I'm just going to give this a quick wipe. There's not a lot on there, but I just like to give it a quick wipe. And then what's next? I always date stamp. So let me grab my date stamper. It's kind of hiding. And I bet the date's pretty old on here. So yeah, we're in June, so I gotta go to July. Today is what, girls? What's today's date? The 19th. I just joined, so you didn't miss me. I'm a ding dong as usual. Forgot what time it is. Melissa, you're not a ding dong. You're a darling. Ooh, Mary's making sausage cheese muffins. What? That sounds good. Jen said, I had a fortune cookie day, and my fortune is tomorrow is a blank canvas. Paint it with your dreams. Perfection. Jen, are you going to do some painting then tomorrow? Is that on your agenda? That's a perfect little fortune. Thanks, Janet. She said, have a super safe trip. Thank you for that. It is the 19th, yes. So I think, I don't know. I always do this backwards, girls. So I have to test it and get my little book out again. It probably will say July 91. Nope, it says July 19th. I always have to test it because backward things in my brain, I can't make them right side up. I usually do the lower right, but this time I'm going to kind of go, I don't want to take away from that, so I'm going to kind of go in the middle right here. July 19th. I like to have the date on there, and it's done. Girls, I've been live for 33 minutes. 33 minutes, and that's talking you through everything, right? Talking and giving you guys all the rundown of my thought process of why I do what I do, the supplies that I use, talking you through tips on how to put your watercolors away, all that kind of stuff, right? How to use the watercolor brushes. 33 minutes. We got a page done. Very simple. Think in layers. Background, something in the background. Doesn't have to be watercolors. It could be acrylic paints. It could be pencils. It could be paper collage. It could be acrylics. You can put anything you want in the background, fabrics, and then you want a focal point. I tend to like a word or a sentiment on my projects, but that doesn't always happen. It just depends on my mood and what I'm working on today. But you can see how fun it can be to have an art journal to play. Here I had stamps. Let's do some markings. I used some stamps, but I think I added some gel pen markings on that one. Let's do that on this one. I think I'm going to do it in gold so that it kind of matches. I think I'm just going to put some stuff around the edges. Sometimes I doodle around the edges. So I'm going to put some wavy lines down here. I don't know why, just to be interesting. It's kind of mimicking my peaks that I made with my green paint. And the metallic gel gold pen is going to add like an element of metallic to it. So you can always keep adding layers. Background layer, focal point layer, markings on the top, or any like your date stamp on the top if you want to put that there. Just think in terms of layers, and especially if you're stumped, if you're like, man, I wanted to do something creative in my craft space, but I don't know what. You don't always have to have a full spread. You can simply just play with patterns and paints to see what they do. And that's okay. You always go back to it if you wanted to add more. But I don't mind that being just what that day was about for me creatively. It can be a mix. And having an art journal is just a beautiful way to kind of keepsake your artistic journey. So I hope you'll find some time this weekend to do it today. Do it. Give yourself that little gift. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can see more comments here. I don't know why, for whatever reason, my screen just isn't showing me comments. Thank you for the hearts, Lisa. There are some hearts back to you. You guys go have a beautiful, blessed, creative weekend. If you don't have time to create, I also give you the permission to give yourself the weekend off. Maybe it's just not in the cards, and this is what most often happens to me. Not in the cards for me, but I really want to do something creative. And if that's the kind of weekend you're having, I understand that that's frustrating. So pencil it in for you for Monday. Pencil it in and gift yourself that time while you're having your coffee on Monday morning. All right, girls, many blessings. Thanks for being here. I'll catch you next time. You can find me either on Facebook at The Comfy Nest with Grace, or you're here on the YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe. About 50% of the people who watch here on the page and hang out with me on the channel, I should say, are not subscribed. So please make sure you take a minute and go back and subscribe to the channel.